Good day, everyone, and welcome to 12 at 12. Today we have Alisa Gaylon, full-time faculty in culinary and hotel restaurant management, and she will present on healthy snacking during the workday. And just so you know, she's also going to present a cool webinar next week called Get Moving. So stay tuned next week as well. I'm going to just pass it over to you, Alisa, and just confirm you got it, and I'll let you know if we can see your screen.
Yes, I'm clicking the button now to show my screen.
Yes, I see it. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me put this into slideshow view so that everybody doesn't have to look at the background of my computer. Hi, everybody. Welcome to 12 at 12. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to do a little presentation on some healthy snacking for you, especially because we sit at our computers for a large chunk of our day. We sometimes have some odd hours and try to fit in our work around our family and other obligations, and we don't always eat the most healthy. And snacking in a healthy way throughout the day can actually really help tide you over so that when you do have time to have a meal, that you are not making bad choices in your larger meal, but you're making good choices throughout the day. So a couple of things I just wanted to mention about carbs before I start giving some examples. And I hope that, I'm not sure it is, but if it's not, I'm hoping the PowerPoint can be made available, either that for download, either that or we can email it out. I do include recipes that I'm going to talk about at the end of it. So a little bit about carbs. Not all carbs are bad. So a lot of people think they need to go on this no carb diet and avoid carbohydrates at all costs. Here's the thing. A lot of foods have carbohydrates in them, including whole grains and fruits and vegetables and beans. These are actually great things to eat and great things to incorporate into a healthy snack because they get absorbed slowly into your system and they don't spike your blood sugar level. If you have, or if you're a diabetic or have anybody in your family who's a diabetic, you might be very aware of a glycemic index. And we want to avoid foods that create huge spikes in the glycemic index and instead eat foods that will sort of keep our blood sugar level steady and constant throughout the day, because that also helps our bodies more effectively use fuel, maintain weight, and feel energetic. Right? So if you're not sure if it's a good carb or a bad carb, the shortest answer is that your good carbs have high fiber content. If it doesn't have a high fiber content, it's probably not a good carbohydrate for you. So I mentioned, fruits, vegetables, and beans, and usually people are like, oh, like I know about rice and I know about corn and like starchy things would be, high in carbs, but no, there's carbs in broccoli. But broccoli's really, really high in fiber. So those are great carbs, right? There's carbs in an apple, right? But an apple is high fiber if you eat the whole apple, not just the apple juice. Right? If it's just the juice, you're just getting sugar. So if you're not sure, always go with high fiber content. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the difference between juices and smoothies when I talk about actual recipes. So we want to minimize the health risk of our bad carbs by trying to eat as fewer refined and processed things as we can. In other words, the more a food is processed, the more of the good stuff, i.e. the fiber, has been stripped away. Like white bread and white rice. There's pretty much no need for those in your diet. Please, please, please switch to a whole grain bread, right? Switch to a bread that's got some flax in it or at least is made with 100% whole wheat. There's no need for white rice. Switch to brown if you must have rice, or maybe try black rice, which is also really delicious. You can also switch to quinoa, which I am going to talk about when we get to the recipes. Quinoa is a grain that it's technically a seed, actually. Yes, it does have carbs in it, but it is also very, very high in fiber, and it is a complete protein. So why would you want to eat something that's been processed and that is just going to spike your blood sugar and make you retain weight and not make you actually feel full to tide you over to a meal as part of a snack, when you could eat something that's actually got protein in it, right, and fiber that's good for your body? A little bit about fat I wanted to mention as well. We've got good fats, right? Good fats actually help lower our cholesterol. Primarily, these are the fats that we consider unsaturated fats, and there are two types of unsaturated fats. There are your polyunsaturated fats, and these are your fats that come from your vegetable oils and fatty fish. So Two of the most well-known fatty fish are salmon, right, and tuna. And then vegetable oils. So your canola oil is a great example there. And then you've got your mono unsaturated fats. And these are things that come from plants, and they're technically fruits and seeds, right? So olives, avocados, and any other nuts or seed oil. So peanut oil, grapeseed oil, any avocado oil, coconut oil, any of those. And then you've got some bad fats, right? These are fats that actually raise cholesterol. Primarily, we're talking about fats that come from animals. So butter, right? And I'm not saying to eliminate butter from your diet, but I am saying lessen the amount of butter in your diet and maybe increase the amount of avocado in your diet instead. If you're looking at, I want something that has a little bit of fattiness because I want that rich mouthfeel when I eat something, make smarter choices about the fats that you're going to eat when you sit down to have a snack. Because again, the idea of a snack is a little something to tide you over until your next meal. It is not a full meal in and of itself, and it should not be an excuse to just eat a bunch of junk just to get something in your body. Everybody knows when you do that and you give into that, that you have that little spike in your blood sugar and then you crash and you're often really tired and it's hard to get through the next couple hours of the day. You also want to avoid those trans fatty acids, so artificial fats to the extent that you can. Avoid your Crisco, avoid margarine, avoid your shortenings. I understand some people dietarily are going to use these trans fatty acids in place of fat because they are maybe keeping a kosher diet and they use margarine instead of using butter so that they don't have to worry about religious dietary restrictions. So you have to make your own choices based on sort of what your dietary restrictions might, put on you. But please, please, please try to consider, go with good fats instead of bad fats when you're thinking about a snack. All right, word about sugar now. So, I eat a lot of fruit and people are always like, wow, you're so healthy. Like, look at you, like eating oranges. And really, the fact of the matter is I crave sugar sometimes and I just want something sweet. And whole fruit is pretty much a sugar bomb. So the good news is that it's also got that good carbohydrate sugar where it actually has a lot of fiber, right? So if you really want something that's a little sweet, eat an orange, eat an apple, right? Some veggies, and also your milk and dairy products. Like there's a reason why that we like to put a little bit of milk or creamer into our coffee because it has a naturally sweet taste and you don't have to add a ton of sugar. Right, so avoid added sugars, avoid any of those sweeteners, whether it's the yellow packet, the blue packet, the pink packet, the brown packet, or the white packet that might be on a table at a restaurant. Just skip that whole thing. Keep in mind that depending on the organization, there are various recommendations as far as how much added sugar you should have in your diet, depending on if it's the USA, World Health Organization, American Heart Association. But the recommendation is no more than 6 to 12 teaspoons of sugar for a 2,000 calorie diet. Usually women have a little less than 2,000 calories in their diet a day. So, women would be on the lower end of that. So try to avoid added sugar, right? Get it from your actual food. So let's get a little bit beyond carrot sticks and celery because everybody knows about carrot sticks and celery. And I don't need to talk about those too much. So I have a few suggestions for you for some healthy snack ideas that you can easily make at home. And these are great things that are just like a small little bite or a small portion that will tide you over to your next meal. So energy balls, protein bars, smoothies, and any of your cold side salads. And I specifically are mentioning cold side salads because we're getting into summertime and this is when we might want to make a larger portion of something that we have like as a side dish for a meal, and then you have a little bit left over and you can eat it as part of your snack over the next couple of days. So I do have a few different recipes that I want to share with you. So the first one is some energy balls, and you can go online and find tons of options for energy balls if you don't like this recipe. But one of the things I love about this recipe is it's basically nuts, which give you a little protein and they have that good fat in them. and some dates, which gives some natural sweetness and some fiber. And you've got your mixed berries, again, natural sweetness and more fiber, and some ginger. And you basically, it's just so simple, put everything in a food processor and pretty much process it, and then use a rounded teaspoon, roll it into little balls, store them in an airtight container in your freezer, and you've got a ton of snack items, right, that you can just pop one out and eat one or two as you needed. All right, this is one of my all-time favorites. For goodness sakes, please, please, please consider making your own protein bars at home instead of buying pre-made protein bars. And the reason I say that is because of all the stuff I just mentioned. A lot of pre-made protein bars are really high in sugar. They're also sometimes really high in sodium, which makes you retain water and kind of feel bloated and not really good about yourself as you go through the day. And remember, a snack is just a little bit to tide you over. I love to make my own protein bars. Number one, it saves money. Number two, you can kind of customize the way you want things. But this is one of my favorites because it's a classic flavor combination. I just absolutely love peanut butter and chocolate chip. And I do have all of the instructions here. You can see it's pretty simple. You don't even really need to to bake anything. You basically just kind of are mixing some ingredients, layering them in a pan, and refrigerating them until they kind of set up, and then you can cut them into bars, wrap them individually in a little bit of wax paper or a little bit of plastic wrap, refrigerate them, and then you've got protein bars for the next couple of weeks. All right, so again, though, you can see that I'm not adding any extra sugar other than what kind of comes naturally already in the chocolate chips. And I actually use an unsweetened vanilla protein powder. All right, smoothies. Smoothies are one of my all-time favorite ways to get a healthy snack. And the reason being is that you can actually get between 3 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in one drink and make it taste really, really, really good. I do not even go with a particular recipe, but I kind of discovered my love of smoothies a few years ago when, as a birthday gift, I got a subscription to the company called Green Blender. And it's one of those like meal in a box companies, but it's for smoothies specifically. And they send recipes and they send all of the produce, and you just kind of chop it up and mix the right things together and put it in your blender. And I realized I don't need to continue, after my gift runs out to pay for this subscription. I can go to my grocery store and pick out these things and make my own combinations. But if you're looking for some inspiration, greenblender.com does make the recipes available for the smoothies that they send in their weekly smoothie boxes. So feel free to check them out for some suggestions. But what I do is I buy a mix at my grocery store. It's actually called juicing greens. And it's basically spinach, kale, and chard. I mix those together. I know I just went a minute over. Grab a couple fruits and veggies of your choice and add in other stuff, blend till smooth, and enjoy. Smoothies over juices. The reason we like smoothies is because they actually have the fiber. I realize I'm running out of time, so these things are in the these recipes are in the handout that you can download. If they didn't make it available for download, we can send it out via email. But these are a couple side salads that, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, I will make these to go with the meal, and then I have the leftovers, and I will eat, like a half a cup to a cup of these as a snack. One is made with quinoa, and the other is with little pearl mozzarella, strawberries, and some basil or mint. So I hope I gave you a few good ideas for some healthy snacking. There should be a link to the Google survey for you to complete to get credit for this training, and I thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Alisa. Yes, you're.
I went 2 minutes over. I'm sorry.
I put it in your PDF in the handout section of this presentation, so people can download that right now. But it will be available when this training is put up into the Faculty Training Center. Thank you, Alisa. Awesome ideas.
All right. Have a great one, everybody. Take care.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.